Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to be talking about some new and upcoming makeup releases and just sharing my thoughts on them, letting you know whether I plan to pick any of these things up or some of the things I may have ordered already. And I'm also going to include a little section on speculation, just sort of thinking about what else might be coming that we haven't actually heard anything about, but things that I think might be on the horizon from a couple of brands. So if you'd like to see all of that, just keep on watching. All right, the first thing on my list is the new Victoria Beckham Beauty Satin Kajal liner. She's bringing out a new shade called Sea Gray, and it looks like a really beautiful gray with shimmer in it, so kind of a silvery tone. It's sort of like the bronze liner, I think, where that's the only one of her existing eyeliners that has that little bit of a metallic or sort of shimmery finish to it, and it looks like Sea Gray is going to be another one in that category, and it looks really gorgeous. So I have ordered that. I didn't pay for expedited shipping or anything on that, so it'll probably be quite a while before that actually comes to me, but I'm really excited for that new shade. I have all the other shades of the liners. They're my favorites, and I'm excited to play around with the new shade when it eventually arrives. The next thing on my list is the Lisa Eldridge Seamless Skin Foundation. So we've obviously, a lot of us have seen sneak peeks of this and have had a chance to try it out because Lisa included sample cards of the foundation in the orders of the new round of lipsticks and glosses and pencils that she recently just put out. So I have been testing out that foundation and I've tried a few of the different shades. I know that shade 1 is a very good shade for me. It's a really truly pale shade of foundation and it's the perfect match for like my neck, and so it brings my face to the shade of my neck. So when I'm at my palest, I know that shade 1, which is a fair with neutral undertones, is going to be great for me. But today I'm actually wearing shade 4, which I'm quite enjoying. I've paired it with a lighter concealer. I used my Rose Ink concealer, which is very fair. And I just kind of wanted to see how shade 4 would work on me, because that was the other one in that card of the 4 lightest shades that kind of appealed to me most. And I think that shade 4 would be perfect for when my skin is a little bit deeper, when I've been doing some self-tan. So what I did today was I actually mixed some of my By Terry CC serum in Sunny Flash in with my moisturizer on my neck, so I could kind of mimic that fake tan look, just so I could see how shade 4 would work with that. And I'm really enjoying the way that all of that looks together. So now I know that my light shade will be shade 1, and if I wanted to get a bit of a deeper shade for when my skin is a little bit darker in the summertime, I know that shade 4 will work for that. I've been loving the formula. I have tried shade 2 as well, and it was just a little bit too deep for me when I'm at my lightest, and the tone wasn't right. It has cool undertones or reddish undertones, I think, but it was pulling a little bit orange on me, so I wasn't enjoying that one. But I've been loving the formula of this foundation and it wears beautifully. I like that the finish is kind of a satin matte type of finish, or a natural sort of middle of the road finish, which is great because then you can adjust it to however you want to wear it. And so I'm really looking forward to whenever the full sizes of that foundation are released. We don't have a release date yet, but I expect it will be quite soon, probably within the next couple of weeks, I'm hoping. Okay, the next one I wanted to talk about is the Huda Rose Quartz palette. Now, I don't buy a lot of Huda Beauty, although I'm kind of drawn to a lot of the products. I usually don't end up buying them, but I do have one of her eyeshadow palettes. It's the New Nudes palette, I think, from a couple of years ago. And although I like the palette, I rarely use it. And part of the reason is because I find that all of the looks kind of look the same. Like all of the shades, although there appears to be a beautiful sort of variation of mauve and rosy tones within the palette, it all kind of ended up looking the same on my eyes. So I actually would like to pull that out and try it again because it's been quite a while. But this rose quartz one actually caught my eye and it looks really beautiful. I don't think I'll be buying it, but I'm quite tempted because I really like the look of those colors. They look to be sort of lighter colors, sort of similar to that New Nudes palette, but just lighter and maybe a little bit more cool toned. It looks quite beautiful, so I'm drawn to it. Not necessarily planning to get it, but I definitely have my eye on it, and I'll be looking forward to seeing other people's reviews of it to help me make my decision on whether I actually want to get it for myself or not. The next thing I wanted to talk about is the new Patrikios Major Headlines Blush Palette. So this is a palette with 3 shades of blush in it and 6 pans. So you've got a cream and a powder for each shade. There's kind of a bright corally, orangey, peachy looking shade. There also looks to be a very cool toned, bright, kind of hot pink shade. And then there's a kind of browny, nudie, rosewoody type shade as well. And I would be tempted to get this if it weren't for that brownier shade. I have one of his cream and powder duos. That's just the single shade with the cream and powder in the one little palette. And I have the She's So LA shade, which is very similar, or looks very similar to that sort of brownish tone that's in this new palette. And I don't actually like that shade of blush in the one that I have. It's too brown, it's too dark for me. It's just, and also a little bit too warm, I think. So it's not the best blush color for me. And given that there seems to be a shade that's quite similar to that in this new palette, that's kind of preventing me from really wanting to get it. Although it does look really beautiful, and I can imagine how nice it would be to have that palette with the 3 different shades and the 2 formulas for each shade. It'd be really fun to kind of mix and match things, and just convenient to have all of those blushes together in one palette. So I do like the looks of it, but I think I'll be passing on it mainly because of that brownish shade. Next up, I wanted to talk about the Chantecaille holiday collection, and specifically about the Pearl Lumiere highlighter that they've brought out as part of that collection. I'm not really interested in the other items in the collection. I think there's like a single eyeshadow and maybe a blush or something, I'm not quite certain, but it was the sort of balm cream highlighter that really caught my eye in that collection. And I would be interested in getting that if it were to come to a retailer other than the Chantecaille website. And so far I haven't seen it at retailers other than the Chantecaille website, at least that are available to me in Canada. It's very expensive to ship from the Chantecaille website to Canada. It's $40. So, and there's no other option for like slow free shipping or anything. So it's just not worth it for me to do that. So I'm going to be keeping an eye out at Holt Renfrew and Nordstrom in Canada just to see if that's going to come here. Maybe it'll even go to Beautylish, which would also be a great option. But if it doesn't come to any of those retailers, I probably won't be getting it. But if it does, I'm very interested in that. It looks like a beautiful shade, beautiful sort of pearly, cool, neutral shade. And I would really love to try that because I think Chantecaille makes some of the best and most beautiful highlighters. Now, another new highlighter that's come out is the Hermès Perma Brass highlighter. So we've seen this before. I've seen it sneak peeked for months now, actually, and it has finally come out in a lot of locations, but it's only come out with the one shade, the shade 01 Perma Brass. And I'm skipping on this for now. My hope is that they're going to come out with a wider range of shades, and I would love to see what those shades are and try out something that I think would be a little bit better suited to me in terms of the shade. The Perma Brass one looks beautiful, and I think I could probably make it work for my skin tone, but it doesn't look ideal to me. And while I'd be very interested to try the formula, the color is kind of just a neutral gold and is not that appealing to me, so I will be passing on that, but keeping an eye out for hopefully some more shades in that range. And the last of the newly released products that I wanted to mention is the Natasha Denona Baby Glam palette. This I'll be skipping as well. I think it has just 3 of the existing shades in the larger midi sized glam palette, which I have and love, but I don't see a need for the baby glam. For me, it's not worth it, but I think that would be a great little palette for someone who's just being introduced to Natasha Denona, or a nice little gift for someone who likes those types of shades. The glam palette is excellent, and I imagine that the baby glam is of similar quality and would be a great option, just not for me. So in addition to the new shade of the Victoria Beckham eyeliner, I just wanted to let you know about a couple of things that are new or new-ish releases that I will be showing on my channel at some point. One of them is the new Pat McGrath Celestial Odyssey palette. I have ordered that. I actually received it. It took 3 weeks to ship from the Pat McGrath website. I received it last week and 2 of the shades were completely shattered, so they're sending me a replacement. I don't know when that's going to arrive. It should be pretty soon, but I was kind of thinking of combining that with the new Victoria Beckham liner when it comes, because there's that kind of grayish lavender looking shade in the Pat McGrath palette that I think would go beautifully with the sea gray liner. So that will be coming up at some point on my channel. I'll do a look with that palette. And then the other thing is the new Makeup by Mario matte lipsticks. I have one shade of those lipsticks. I've had it for a couple of weeks, but just haven't had a chance to show it or use it on my channel yet. So I will be demoing the shade that I have and sharing my thoughts on the formula at some point in a future video. Now for my speculation section. The first thing I wanted to mention is that it looks like Lisa Eldridge is probably going to be coming out with a foundation brush. And I say this because in her video where she does her detailed explanation of choosing the correct shade of her foundation and goes into applying it and all of that, she's using a little paddle brush that I think has the Lisa Eldridge name or logo on it. And I read the comments to that video and a number of other people had mentioned that as well. And she didn't really confirm it, but someone said that they had spotted a Lisa Eldridge foundation brush and she said, well spotted. So it's sort of confirmed. I don't know if she is going to be actually selling that, but it seems like that would make sense that she would bring that out at the same time as the foundation. So we'll see about that. It would be interesting. Although those types of paddle foundation brushes are really not my preference, I would probably get the Lisa Eldridge one because anyone can do it. I think she can do it, and I would be curious to try it out. And she did mention that most makeup artists who had tried the foundation over the past months had preferred to use that type of a brush. So I would be very curious to try it. Another thing that's sort of been hinted at, but not confirmed, but we can be pretty sure it's coming, is another Natasha Denona retro palette. So when she was doing all of her promotional material and talking about the retro palette that came out last month, I think it was, the one with all the purples and mauves in it, she said that she's not finished with the retro line, and she acknowledged that people were concerned or upset that there weren't any greens in this retro palette, but she said that there will be greens coming in the future. So I expect probably January or February we'll be seeing a new, like a retro 2 or something with those more greens and sort of sea foam colors, more along the lines of the greens that were in the original mini retro palette. Now the rest of the few items that I'm speculating about, these are more just hopes, kind of shots in the dark, but maybe educated guesses about what might be coming. I am kind of expecting Sonia G to come out with a holiday collection, so perhaps more brushes from Sonia G, maybe another one of the limited edition wooden brush holders. Last year she came out with a little bit of a holiday collection, so I'm kind of expecting that again. Also kind of expecting Wayne Goss to come out with more. He has in the last few years brought out a holiday brush, so I'm kind of expecting him to bring out a limited edition holiday brush. And then the last thing is just a very hopeful thing. I am really hoping that Victoria Beckham will come out with a green Satin Kajal liner, and also she could maybe come out with some more things, like maybe she'd come out with a couple more shades of her lipsticks, or maybe a new eye brick, or new shades of the lid lusters for the holiday season. No reason to be expecting this or hoping for this other than sometimes I've noticed that she'll drop like one item, so like she's just dropped the new shade of the eyeliner, and then just like a week or two later she'll bring out a whole other thing. So that's the only reason I'm kind of thinking of that, and I would just really love to see some new shades of the lid lusters and new eyeliner and so on, but that's all pure speculation and just hopefulness from me. All right, that's everything I wanted to talk about for this video. Let me know if you have any questions or comments below. I always love to see those. And if you'd like to see more from me and you haven't subscribed to my channel already, I'd really love for you to do so. Thanks so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.